Meeting to order. Dr. Thomason, roll call.
President Reese, members of the board, please let the record show that we have 4 board members here tonight. Allie Ford is unable to make it because she is taking a trip to New York for the summer.
Thank you. Yes, Mrs. Ford is on her summer vacation and will call in when she can for our meetings. So we will go ahead and do our moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, 4.0, I move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Any questions or comments regarding the agenda? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. 5.0, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Thomason.
Good evening, President Reese, members of the board. We do have a special award and presentation, but we could move that to the end of the night. I would appreciate that at this time. So right now, for upcoming events, we do have a special board meeting next Wednesday, June 7th at 5:30, and that will be executive session for the superintendent's review, and then followed by our next board meeting on June 21st for a regular board meeting, and July 4th for the 4th of July holiday, followed by our next board meeting in July on July 11th here at the district office also. And then we'll have our Welcome Back rally on July 19th, and we hope everybody can make it to the 8 Center for the Performing Arts for our Welcome Back rally, where we celebrate the start of the new school year. So at this time, that's about all we have for our agenda, and I would ask President Reese if it's okay if we move one of our items to the end, and that would be the awards and recognitions.
All right, we can go ahead and do that. For board comments, I just want to say that I was very thankful for Wells Fargo Arena. Our graduations were amazing. It was nice to be inside in the air conditioning. It was really hot outside, so they did a great job, and I enjoyed both graduations, and it was really exciting to be part of that. So I know we've been really busy with award ceremonies and all the end of the year wrap-ups, and I got to enjoy some concerts and some awards and a lot of other events to wrap up the end of the year, as well as the little kindergarten promotions at some, or graduations promotions, however we want to call them, moving on to first grade. That was really fun to attend some of those at the schools. So any other board comments?
On the way over here, I heard that our Penda Ba is going to the finals tomorrow in the spelling bee in Washington, D.C. So I heard that on the radio on the way. So just good on her.
Madam President?
Yes, Mr. Glover.
I just wanted to recognize, so since our last meeting, we wrapped up another school year, and I got a cool phone call from Dr. Thomason. And he said, what day of the week was that? I don't even remember. But you said, I'm just calling to let you know, last kid just got off the last bus, and we just wrapped up another school year. And I thought, that's a pretty cool thing for you to know that and keep track of that and care enough about that. So I just wanted to give you props for that, too, and to everyone for wrapping up yet another fine school year.
President Reese?
Dr. Thomas.
I would like to mention that we had a joint venture today with the Gilbert Public Schools, and board member Mr. Glover was a huge part of that. And Gilbert Public Schools is having the summer education technical institute, and we had about 400 teachers from Gilbert participate, and about 25 teachers from Higley participate, and it was an excellent opportunity for our teachers to learn about technology in the classroom and use of technologies. And so I'm very grateful for board member Glover and the Gilbert Public Schools for allowing us to participate in that professional development today.
Very nice. Thank you. Put our resources together for our teachers. That's awesome. Thank you for making that happen, Mr. Glover. All right. If nothing else, we'll go on to 6.0, request to speak to the governing board. We have no requests. All right. 7.0, consent agenda items. I move that we approve consent agenda items 7.1 through 7.8.
Support.
Any questions or comments regarding consent? I'll give you a minute.
Yeah, could you?
Sure.
Okay, Madam President, I do have a few comments. Or could do we just make the motion and then I comment later? Or you want to comment?
We made the motion, it was seconded, so it's time you can comment or question.
Okay, so 7.1, let's pull out my notes here, is some personnel items. This is the one of the first big hires that we've had as a board, two, and I don't have any problems. I just wanted to talk about, the process that I think we should have in place, and Dr. Thomason can stop or disagree or welcome your comments afterwards, but whenever positions are posted, especially big ones, I hope that, I don't like to waste people's time. So, the people that are, anytime, and I would say this at any school district, if people are doing the paper screenings and on the interview committees, I hope that they all have enough integrity in the process to either recuse themselves if they can't be objective, or, it's fine to have a favorite. We all do, and we all root for the person that we think is best. But we have insiders, I think, that sometimes have legitimate shots at promotion, or even just interviewing experience is good. Sometimes we have outsiders who may bring some expertise, but if we aren't objective about finding the best candidate and listening to people, then inside and outside people will stop applying. So I'm not saying that's the case here, but that is my philosophy. I just want to share that with the board because we really don't have any time to talk about that. So I think it's good for an organization to be objective like that. And one other point I hope that we can agree on is when people leave a position that they really shouldn't get to choose their replacement. I think it's part of their job as a boss, as a mentor, to make sure that the people that work under them are prepared to assume power if they go. And so as I read through that and I thought about that, I just thought I wanted to share my thoughts with you guys on that, and have the people of Higley maybe hear that as well from me. Thank you.
Mrs. Kaler.
Dr. Schillingberg, I would love for you to maybe share with us a little bit about the decision and how it came about with Mr. Bickle taking over the principalship over at the Bridges. I think it's important that our community hear too. I know there was a great communication sent out to our employees, but just for the sake of our transparency, and we talked about that, we'd love for you to just kind of share your thoughts.
Absolutely, no problem. Well, when you're making a change like this late in the year, you want to make sure that the transition is successful and positive for everyone involved. And when you have a school like the Bridges that was started by two people and they're really the face of that school, it was important that we didn't break up that total image of what parents were expecting by taking Sherry away from them. So the one thing I knew would be important for that transition was to keep some solid leadership and that stability, because I knew the teachers would need that. So the decision was made to move Jeff to that position because he had been there from the beginning, especially because those programs, we have two very specialized programs at the Bridges with the PBL and our HPAL program. And that would be very difficult for someone to learn this late and quickly catch up to speed. And I'd like to share, when I met with the staff and expressed and shared with them that we were taking Sherry, half of them cried. But when I said that we wanted this transition to be smooth and positive, and we knew it was important that they had stability in their leadership, and we were going to move Jeff to the principal's position, they all cheered. So that was a great feeling, because I know that was what they needed.
Thank you for that explanation. I know that's not typical within our district, and I know the Bridges is a special place, and we do have those specialized programs, and sometimes decisions need to be made in the best interest of the students and staff. This is a conversation I think probably I know I had with Dr. Thomason, and that it's not a normal process just to move somebody into that position and promote them. We usually do go through the posting process, but there are some exceptions to that rule, and I think that this is kind of a perfect definition of those exceptions. We have someone who's prepared, who's ready, who's familiar with that school, who's ready to take that lead. And so sometimes there are business cases that the exceptions do apply. So thank you for explaining that. And I'm sure a lot of them were very sad, but she's not going far. Any other questions?
I have a few more, Madam President. So we're approving all these in mass, so 7.2, 7.3 we're voting.
Yes.
Okay, so I missed a chance to separate that out. So 7.2 is actually assessing a fee for somebody?
Yes.
All right, so it's not going to, if we were voting these separately, I probably would vote differently than you guys on that one. But just to reiterate again, we instituted this policy in everybody's contract. You've got 3 people that it has actually happened to, and only one for a mere $750 in contract. So maybe next year when contract language comes up again, we can revisit that penalty language in contracts, perhaps.
Yes, and this also was a topic of discussion, and what Mr. Glover's talking about is the board policy that the board approved prior to contracts, that if you sign your contract and then request to be released from your contract, that a penalty may be applied, and it would be applied with the exception of a few items where they could request a waiver, and the board could approve or deny the request for the waiver based on the criteria that was set forth that we said would be acceptable to be released from a contract. If it was simply you signed your contract and you chose to seek employment elsewhere, and then you were asking to be released from your contract, that those penalties could be assessed, and that we do have one that is the penalty being assessed. And so it's a new policy for us, and so there are some that did meet the requirements of the waiver.
Mrs. Reese, if I could just make one comment. You brought up yesterday, I believe, as to whether it was necessary for the assessment of damages, of liquidated damages, to be on the agenda. And I think you're correct that it was already there. We're going to leave it there. But the assessment of the liquidated damages is the normal, and asking for the waiver would be when it would come to the board. So we have it on there. If the consent agenda is approved, then that will be approved in the way it was recommended. But I just wanted to clarify that this hopefully will be the last time you will see the assessment on your agenda.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Good. That was a question we did ask about why it was on our consent, because the policy states it will be assessed, and that if there's a waiver request, that's when it would come to the board for approval.
Just
Mr.
one more,
Glover?
Madam President. So we're going through 7.8, correct?
Yes, we are.
So this is just for Mr. Holland. I'll say yes to your conference, but you have to promise to come back to us.
He's going
You can't
to
stay.
he's going to Tucson. I think we're okay.
I was just thinking, you really want to do numbers all summer too? Guy.
I spent a lot of time in Tucson recently. He'll come back to Gilbert.
I think Mr. Glover's asking you don't make any friends down there, okay? Okay. Yeah. No networking.
Don't show your expertise very much, okay? Just stay low. Any other comments, questions?
No. Vote.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, President Reeves, members of the board, in your consent agenda, you did just approve 2 new positions, and I'd like to introduce and welcome them both. First, we have Sherry Richards, who will be the new Director of Elementary Education, and we could not be more excited. And Jeff Pickle, who will take the lead as the principal of Bridges. Very excited about that, and thank you to his wife, Marianne, for giving him up to us for a long time.
Mr. Richards, I'm so pleased with the decision of this district, and I have the great things that you've done at Bridges. I know it's going to be across this district, so thank you so much for your leadership in reference to that. So thank you.
We're excited to have you come to the district office. We're sad to see you leave there, but we know you will be working with them and sharing your expertise, so we're really excited. And Mr. Bickle, we're excited for you, and you have some pretty big shoes to fill. High heels and all, so, you know. So, congratulations to both of you. We're really excited. All right, we don't have any old business, so we'll go on to our action and information items. 9.1 is just an information item regarding the revision of policy regulation GBEB-R for staff dress code. Does anyone have any questions on? It's a change in regulation, so it's not a change in policy, so that's why we don't need to vote on it. Does anyone have any questions regarding that?
I don't have any specific to the dress code, but just concerning our graduation, I did receive some comments that some of our members of our community would love to see our staff dress up a little bit more for our graduation ceremonies. Yes, some of us are all in gowns and covered up, whatnot, but afterwards there's lots of pictures taken, and some of the teachers were a little bit more casual, and so I just got some comments about maybe they could dress up too like the graduates.
President Reese, members of the board, we have put that on the list to discuss as we have graduation coming up for next year. That will be one of the topics that we discuss with our administrators.
Madam President?
Mr. Glover?
Just a few comments and maybe some questions wound in here. I was going to mention denim, and the admins have to enforce that. I don't see that as a problem in Higley, but I have worked in places where that was said but never enforced. What I did see as a teacher looking through this is it says in there any employee in violation of this policy may be asked to go home, and that's fine, but then who? I mean, if I'm sent home, then you're left covering my class. Do you get paid for it? Do you get the sub rate? Do you get the daily rate? There's sort of no teeth in that other than you're sent home, and you should be embarrassed, but if you were embarrassed, you probably wouldn't have worn what you shouldn't have worn to school anyway. That may be something that you might want to revisit. I'm not looking at punishing people, but you're just going home, right? It's just a change. There's nothing.
And President Reese, members of the board, not because of inappropriate dress, but we have had wardrobe malfunctions that we do come to the assistance of employees for in the past, and someone does cover their class, we have internal coverage, and the employee does have the opportunity to run home, or if closer, if they're an hour away, has gone to Walmart to pick up an appropriate dress wear and come back to school. So we do have some internal coverage that we have utilized for wardrobe malfunctions in the past.
Thanks, Dr. Thompson. No, I understand that, but again, what I'm saying is, if I now have to cover that class, you know, that's no fun for the teacher that has to then cover the class for the person who has to get sent home. Anywho, but you know, again, if Meet and Confer agrees to that, I mean, I probably would dock somebody's pay if I could, if we had to send them home. But anyway, if Meet and Confer agrees to it, the only other question I had is, when we hire employees, they're given this clearly? Because there's some stuff on there about piercings and stuff that I thought.
Absolutely, it's part of new teacher orientation.
Okay.
That we have with all onboarding staff.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Glover, thank you for bringing it up. This is, the regulation does come to us from the Meet and Confer team. So there's teachers, administrators, there's a group of different levels in that Meet and Confer team. So this was, I appreciate their work on it, and the professionalism they have regarding that. All right, if we don't have anything else there, we're on to 9.2. And I move that we approve the 2017-18 pay for performance plans.
Support.
Comments, questions? Mr. Glover?
Sorry.
Don't be sorry. This is.
Well, I'm amazed that we put 50% on school performance, and that really relates to ELA and math. So I just wanted to mention to Meet and Confer and the HEA and other people that I am receptive to reducing our over-reliance on ELA and math state standardized sort of test scores. And in fact, I would encourage other like-minded individuals to sort of advocate for something better that's more representative of all the good things we do in our schools. Like, for example, if I was a ceramics teacher, yes, they do try to embed math, but really the things how they teach that is probably not the style that they would see on the test. And then I started thinking, you know, what if you have a team and you have a teacher that goes on maternity leave or has something that happens, and you have another weak teacher on a team, and so now 50% of this could rely on that, and then even we have 50% reliance on teacher evaluations means you better be on pretty good terms with your evaluating principal, and there's no sliding scale either. You're either, I think, I mean, if I read that correctly, you know, somebody who's partially effective, maybe the sliding scale. So you have the points is like 60, 58, 56. And believe me, I may be wasting my breath here. 509 people out of 510 approved this. So I might be crazy, but I really do think we can do something better, and that's more reflective of what's in our schools. And I'm not proposing what that is. I hope that the HEA and the powers that be help decide that. I do like that it's really easy. It's not complicated. I'm not looking to make it more complicated. But with that point level between 60, 58, 56, I mean, you could theoretically incentivize some behaviors that you want to see. For example, if people did, I don't know, pick a number, 10 hours of PD, maybe they could get a point. If you coached or led a club, I think those are important things to a school, and I think they add a lot to a school, and I think they help build relationships. Maybe you could get 3 points if you're a department head or a grade level chair. Maybe that could bump you up a point or two, because those things do matter to schools, and they do make a huge difference. So anyway, if anybody was open to that, I certainly would be supportive of this over-reliance we have on our English language arts and math scores, but the people are happy, so.
Thank you, Mr. Glover. Ms. Swanson, I didn't know if you wanted to add anything about maybe how this came about, or if not, I don't mean to put you on the spot.
President Reese, members of the board, so I mean, as you can probably see, it's similar to the plan that we've had the last couple of years. We actually did have Anju come into our meeting, talk to us about the new structure that's coming out of the state related to student achievement and the school letter grades, and that complicated system. And just because I think we're leery of the fact that that's not said and done at this point and don't know what that will look like in the future. We just wanted to go ahead and bring forth this plan for next year, one more year, and then during the year next year, the Meet and Confer team agreed to continue to look at the school letter grade, how that's calculated, all of the very complicated ins and outs of that. In addition, if you'll remember, last time we brought it to you, it was like mid to end of November, and the board specifically asked that we bring it back earlier for next year so that teachers can begin the year knowing what the plan is. And so we made it a goal of ours to get through it for this year so that teachers do know coming back exactly what the plan is for next year.
Perfect, thank you. Any other comments or questions regarding 9.2? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. 9.3, I move that we approve the 2017-18 Memorandum of Understanding between Higley Unified School District and the Higley Education Association.
I second.
Questions, comments, Mr. Glover?
President Reese, I thought this would be a great opportunity to make a point for the teachers to join the HEA. I think it's one of the best places to have a voice. I think Dr. Thomason is willing and eager to work with them. We have members, but membership is low. Meet and Confer is a great place where you can make and advocate for better working conditions. So I wanted to make a point to mention that.
Thank you.
President Reese, members of the board, we did have a great meeting with our Meet and Confer leaders last week and brought in an outside representative from our area. And I think that we're moving in a very, very positive direction, even in the standpoint that we're looking at bringing in some of our classified staff for the Meet and Confer process too. So I'm very thankful for the HEA members that we have in our district and look forward to that group growing in the future.
Any other questions? No? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. We'll go on to 9.4. I move that we accept the opposition of the expansion of the education savings accounts by the passage of SB 1431 and it being signed into law.
Second.
And this is regarding specifically the vouchers. And while it is signed into law, the Arizona School Board Association and others are still working on it. And we wanted, as a district, to show that we support the ASBA in opposing this. Any questions regarding this one, comments?
Oh, Madam President, I'll just clarify for people. The very end part of this resolution, even though it already passed, says we oppose the passage and signing of it into law and urge its reconsideration and repeal. And I think that's the part that we're really hitting away at today. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Any other questions? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. 9.5, I move that we approve the renewal of the food service contract with Southwest Food Service Excellence, LLC.
I second.
Questions, comments regarding this particular one? Mr. Glover, don't let us down.
Okay. I'll keep the theme running here. No, I was going to say I don't think people will mind paying 10 more cents if the meals are more edible. Some of those whole grain things are pretty rough to get down.
Let's go back to sourdough. White bread.
All right. If we don't have anything else, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. And we are on to 9.6. I move that we approve increasing the band instrumental rental fee for the elementary schools from $50 to $75.
Support.
And with this one, we just recently did the same increase for our middle schools. This band, the instrument rental fee is for the entire year. So it is a fee that will help cover repairs and damages and items like that to repair these instruments. And any parent who's had to rent an instrument somewhere else, we don't have them for all, but for those who do rent them through the district, this is a much better price than if you have to rent it out on your own. So, Mr. Glover?
Well, I just thank you, Madam President. I just had a few questions for Dr. Schillenberg. So if a parent was saying, what am I getting for the extra $75 or $25, we can say what? That it'll be repaired more quickly, or are we buying some new instruments, or?
It's also for the purchase of new instruments. So the elementary band teachers asked for this not only for repairs that they need, but they said it also helps them purchase new instruments.
Okay, that's great. And then two more, I think, questions. How is this going to be communicated to the parents?
Well, I haven't seen how we actually send this out. I'm assuming when they sign up for band that they would get a form to rent from us, and the fee would be on there as you would done in the past. And it sounds like some choose to rent outside and not through the district. So if they choose to rent the instrument from the district, it'll be on the form, the increase in the price.
Okay. And then I know we have this, but if somebody were didn't have the means, I know the answer, but just say it to the public.
The fees are waived if they haven't got the means. If they're on the free and reduced lunch, the fees are waived.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. On to 9.7. I move that we approve the food service meal price changes for the 2017-18 school year.
Support.
Any questions or comments? No. All right, and I know we talk about this because it comes to us every year, and we are required to have a minimum there, and so this helps us stay in compliance there.
President Reese, members of the board, we are required to raise our prices to meet the federal standards for the National Food Service Program. We keep thinking we're going to get caught up, but as we get caught up, they'll move their prices higher too, and so we ended up having to bring this back every year, and hopefully someday we'll be caught up that we don't have to bring it back.
And Gary's shaking his head saying, no, that probably will never happen.
Yes, because I know based on the information, we are behind, but we are only permitted to do 10 cents per year. So, all right, anything else? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. 9.8, I move that we approve, the food program permanent service agreement with the Arizona Department of Education for fiscal year 2017-18.
Second.
Any questions, comments regarding this one? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. We get to our future agenda items. The 18-19 calendar committee, I know we're working on that, as well as trying to get an overview of the services provided by guidance counselors. Do we have anything else to add to our future agenda items? No? All right, with that said, I move that we adjourn.
President Reese?
You're right, Dr. Thomason. See, look at me. Yes, we're doing awards. We've moved that to the end of our agenda.
President Reese, members of the board, cabinet community. At this time, I would like to welcome up our Higley Education Association members to have a special recognition for an employee that we will deeply miss as we move on to the future. So HEA, I turn it over to you.
Is this on? All right, so we are here. We are representing members of Meet and Confer and the Higley Education Association, and wanted to give our thanks to Cheryl Redner, Diane Bruning, and Sheila Sorensen for their work with HEA and Meet and Confer, and we can't express enough how much we appreciate the working relationship that we've had and all that you have done to help better things for teachers in the district, and you will be greatly missed. So, thank you.
President Reese, members of the board, I also wanted to publicly thank Sheila Sorensen and recognize her for all the incredible work she's done for us over the last 5 years. Everything from the legislation dropping Prop 123 on us and having to get all of those changes made and get those payments out, to Prop 206 that we had to change in the middle of the year, and the foresight and everything that she's done. We're losing an incredible HR director, and I'm jealous that Agua Fria is picking her up, but I'm happy for them, and I'm happy for her not having to drive 2.5 hours a day too. So Sheila, I got you a little something and wanted to just publicly thank you for everything you've done for our district. Thank you.
She's not going to know what to do with extra sleep time that's not in the car. Not that you're sleeping while you're driving. I'm sure there's some autopilot there going on. So we wish you the best of luck in Agua Fria, and I'm glad you don't have to make that nasty drive, but we will miss you and thank you. I know that you have spent hours and hours in, like Dr. Thomason said, when things have come up, and making sure stuff is done right, the contracts and language, and you've always been there to answer my questions and explain things. So I appreciate it. You've been very helpful to me as a board member, and thank you, and we wish you the best of luck.
And even with her hours of driving, I would like to say that I'm very grateful we didn't pay her by the hour because we couldn't afford it. I mean, she's here. She's the first person here and the last person to leave on many, many, many days.
Avoid that traffic too, yes. But there's always work to be done. So thank you. All right, and that was very nice, thank you. So with that, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.